Hi there, I'm Faye, and I'm the Canadian Country Manager for Xero, a cloud-based accounting software used by over 3 million small businesses around the world. Here at Xero, our mission is to make life better for small business owners, their advisors, and ultimately the communities in which they serve. We are so passionate about helping small businesses leverage technology to not just survive, but to thrive. Vibrant and diverse neighborhoods cannot exist without a thriving small business ecosystem. One of the things that the past 2 years has shown us is that small businesses are massively under-resourced and under-supported, particularly when it comes to times of hardship. They were the first to run out of cash, the first to shut up shop, and in most cases, the last to receive incremental support. So what lessons can we take away from this? How can we collectively better support small businesses to build resilience and weather future challenges? I'll spend the next 10 minutes sharing some research and case studies of how digitally connected small businesses are more capable of surviving through tough times and coming out stronger and more future-proof than their peers, while also touching on the role that we can collectively play in helping them succeed. First, let's start with the stat. 62%. In a study that Xero conducted last year in concert with the Brookfield Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, we discovered that digitally mature SMEs were 62% more likely than their peers to have achieved higher sales growth, and they were 52% more likely to enjoy higher profits as well. To illustrate that example, meet Xero customers Leslie and Bettina. They're the co-owners of Align Creative Media, a small creative professional services agency based out of Toronto that launched during the pandemic. Working with their accountants at first CFO, they started by setting up their business in the cloud from day one. Since then, their gross profits have increased by 600% year on year. Using a cloud-based tool has allowed Leslie and Bettina to seamlessly manage their business and to do everything from issuing quick invoices to customers to tracking and managing their expenses, while also making that dreaded tax season just a little less painful. From our research here at Xero, we know that adopting technology is top of mind for small businesses, but many of them avoid making any technological change at all. So why is that? 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 small businesses in Canada report feeling overwhelmed by technology options available to them. They simply do not know where to start. Last year, we surveyed over 4,000 small businesses around the world in markets such as Australia, the UK, and Canada as well. Interestingly, Canadian small business owners were some of the most likely to report feeling overwhelmed by digital options available to them. They simply couldn't get going on their journey. In our one-step report, which is available online, we found that Canadian SMB owners were more likely to work in their business rather than on it. And what are those big barriers to change? There's a perception of excessive costs. There's a lack of qualified employees within their group. And then they also fear their employees' resistance to change. In a tough talent market, no one wanted to rock the boat. So here's another small business example for you. Meet Ian and Chantel. They're the founders of the Fight Like Mason Foundation, based in Bell River, Ontario. They started their foundation to fund childhood cancer research after losing their son Mason to it just 6 years ago. They lived through every parent's worst nightmare, but came out resolved to make the world better for future generations. As you can see from this quote, when they started their foundation at first, they had no idea what to do with their finances, and they reported feeling overwhelmed. As the employees of their business, they simply didn't have the skills required to adopt technology, nor did they know where to start. Fast forward to today, and they're leveraging technology to help streamline their processes, and in concert and with the help of their accountants, they're working on their most important business instead of in it. So how can we help? Now that we have a good understanding of the importance of digital adoption for small businesses and those main barriers to adopting change, right? The cost perception, employee resistance, not having the skill set within the firm to actually implement it successfully. What are we going to do about it? How can we better collectively support Canadian small businesses in digitizing their operations and ultimately give them that most valuable resource back, which is time? For us here at Xero, it's three key things. Right? We've learned that you have to do change management in incremental small steps. You can't take that one big leap. So encouraging small steps, we already know this is overwhelming for small business owners and their teams. They're suffering from that analysis paralysis. Make it really simple for them and set up achievable milestones. Number two, open banking and data flow. This is one of the number one things that we hear from our accounting and bookkeeping partners. And our research has shown that small business owners, the top of mind question for them is, what's in my bank account? How do I know how much I have left? Through initiatives such as open banking and bilateral agreements between financial institutions and small business platforms, we can make real-time, high-fidelity bank information table stakes in this market. We've seen it in other markets where Xero is more established, such as Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Open banking has truly changed the game, and it's allowed us to move on to the next generation of lending use cases, cash flow forecasting, payments, etc. It's really, really exciting stuff. And then last, but certainly not least, few small business owners went into business based on their passion for balancing the books or filing their taxes at the end of the year. So the more we can connect them with financial advisors, experts in their field, business consultants to help guide them through change management and digital adoption, the more they can focus on doing what it is that they love, serving their customers and building their business. So with that, I'll end my presentation with two final short stories. The first one is the 514. It's a foster placement agency specifically for LGBT youth in Windsor, Ontario. This time last year, they had a loan coming due, and the person that held it wasn't interested in continuing to hold it. They had to turn around new bank financing to pay off that loan very, very quickly, and they didn't know where to turn. Luckily, their data was all up to date, and they were able to turn around a report that was needed very, very quickly. They could have defaulted on that loan, and as you can imagine, it was very stressful for an organization such as the 514, but because they had that access to quick bank information, they were able to turn that around. And then lastly, I'll just end on a sweet note. I want to share one of my favorite stories from the last couple of years, which is the story of Kopp's Donuts. It's a business that has not only survived through COVID, but actually expanded their operations. Kopp's is a small chain here in Toronto that makes the most delicious donuts and hot coffee. And because they'd adopted digital technology before the onset of COVID, they were able to smoothly navigate the move to online, launching a delivery service during the pandemic, which was obviously very key given the situation that we were in, before expanding to additional locations. It's stories like these that give me hope and validate the power of digitization for small businesses and the power that can bring for the Canadian small business economy. Thank you.